Who's he killed? Huh?
Yeah, he asks that, and so Tyrion says he's slain Sir Robor Royce and Emyn Coy. Hey everybody, and welcome to another episode of Brotherhood Without Manners, your favorite full spoiler reread podcast of George R.R. Martin's A Song of Ice and Fire series, reading A Storm of Swords. As always, I'm your host Zach, and sitting here in a red shirt, my brother Nate.
Oh, I am wearing a red shirt.
Which means you're disposable and killable, and you're probably going to die by the end of this episode. Sick.
Damn.
My plan finally comes to fruition.
I haven't found you a replacement.
Huh?
I haven't found you a replacement.
That's okay.
Well, I suppose after our last recording that you already found one yourself with our last with that guest that's coming up. That's where we're at in the time frame here.
We read A Song of Ice and Fire here, and then we like to talk about it and ponder what it means.
Right. So if you joined us last episode, we were reading Jaime 5. Jamie. And it was the bathhouse scene, which didn't just culminate in the bathhouse scene where he revealed the reasoning behind his decision to kill the Mad King Aerys.
Kingslayer, get in here.
Which led to some intimate time with Brienne and him as she washed him clean.
She cradled him like a little baby.
Preparing him for their meal with Roose Bolton.
Ew.
I heart him. Not in a good way. Like, he's terrible. He's an awful person. I love the character.
You're literally just tossing your love into an endless void.
Right. So that did not go well for Brienne. Jaime will be sent to King's Landing. She will be kept here as Vargo Hoat's reward.
Yeah, the brilliance of Martin's writing was on display in that chapter in the Roose Bolton discussion as Jaime. It even takes Jaime, because, you know, as the show says, Cersei says in the show that Jaime was always the stupidest Lannister, that it takes Jaime a minute to kind of realize what Bolton is saying, but Bolton is very clearly kind of saying, hey, yeah, fuck Robb Stark, I'm looking for an out here, and it's already very much so in the works, and, like, me and your dad are bros now, so, like, you're good, and it's just so good because...
Duskendale, dude?
Duskendale.
There's why.
Hope nothing happens at Duskendale.
But... this chapter, we are not reading Jaime. We are reading Tyrion. Number 5.
One
Cinco.
brother to another. And continuing the trend of Robert's Rebellion and the sack of King's Landing, we get the fallout of Jaime Lannister's story in this Tyrion one. As last we had left Tyrion, holy hollow hot minute. I don't even know, dude. Do you recall?
Was that the wedding when he got married to Sansa?
Was it just the wedding?
I think it was the last chapter, but it's been so long ago.
Hold on, listeners.
This is Zach's fault for coming unprepared.
It's
his one responsibility is to make sure he's read up and knowledged on what the previous chapter was for each character. And here he is, rifling through his notes, same as I am. So we apologize for the delay in that. I found it here, guy. Let's see. He was on the shore, started out on the shore of the Blackwater Bay. He was checking out the damage, scoping it out. Where else we got here? I'm just going through these notes. This is a whole chapter's worth of stuff. So we get to see the ice melted down. Mm-hmm. And so he's having that chat with his dear old daddy. And is that where he tells him he's never going to get Casterly Rock? Fuck, that was that long ago.
Yeah,
huh?
It was a hot minute. Yeah, they discuss Tyrion and his father have a very interesting conversation.
Yeah, and they received the note from the wall.
Yeah, and they discuss the Night's Watch. They discuss quite a few things. Janos Slint, that sort of thing, going up to the wall.
But that's why it was so easily forgettable. It wasn't...
Whoa!
It says the guy who took just as long as I did to find it in his notes. It was a very small chat with Tywin for the most part. Like, a lot of big things they were discussing, but a very small moment. The fact that it was a whole chapter is... like, because we just got spoiled with that Jaime chapter where it was the bathhouse and the whole meeting with Roose Bolton.
True that. And
so if it's just a chit-chat, as big as that chat may be, there's some shit going down. So as you said, the fallout of the sacking of King's Landing.
Tyrion 5, Tyrion is awaiting the Dornish lords outside King's Landing!
Zach loves these Dornish lords. One in particular.
With him, Lord Giles sits coughing. Sir Adam and Jalabarzo, and Tyrion's like, yeah, I really wish they weren't here because I didn't want them here.
But Joffrey's been a racist cunt as of late towards the Dornish, and so Tywin thought it best that he doesn't greet these gentlemen
alone.
and that
It'd be offensive if just
Tyrion
a dwarf
can't
were
do it
there.
by himself.
Right.
So he sent these guys.
Yeah, Joffrey, lols, had been picking up some pretty lewd Dornishman jokes from the Tyrell men. As we know, there's some animosity there between those houses, but not between Oberyn and Willis. But and Joffrey's been walking around telling this joke that he thinks is fucking hysterical. Would not be found funny by the Dornish, so therefore, yeah, Joffrey can't be out here doing his kingly duties as he should be, welcoming them both to his council and his wedding and his city. But one more failability of Joffrey Lannister. So the banners begin to emerge from the green of the living wood, from here to the river. But from here to the river, only bare black trees remained, a legacy to his battle, the Battle of the Blackwater, where he lit everything on fire. And I also want to point out that this dichotomy of colors here is also the colors of Tyrion's eyes, which are split between black and green, and I think very good reflection of his personality here.
Zach thinks he's Two-Face from Batman.
I think Tyrion has a duality that he thinks that he is on the green lush side of things, but actually he tends to burn things to the ground wherever he goes because he gives in to his impulses and anger.
So when he's at his worst at the end dance and he happens to be coming across the Dragon Queen who has the capabilities of burning things to the ground, there's no chance that she may be swayed into burning things to the ground?
Burn them all!
Anyway,
by the looks of it, Martell's brought half of the Dornish lords, which Tyrion finds absolutely nothing positive in, because, you know...
Why you flexing, y'all?
Why
you
stuff
rolling
the Dornishmen and the Tyrells into a pressure cooker, shake it up real good, and see what the fuck emerges, because this ought to be good. And Tyrion asks Bronn how many banners there are, and Bronn's kind of like, I don't know, it's hard to see, the wind.
There's a bunch of them.
And Tyrion's like, yo, Podrick! And
No
notes
boy.
how much taller Pod has gotten. Little potty pain's growing up.
I like
Soon
that.
He'll
I
be
like
taller,
that there was a dedicated note of that he's...
towering over everyone, Tyrion like everyone else.
He's going to need a proper person to squire
Which,
him.
again,
Lady Brienne.
way to not, just be like, hey, the lad's growing. You got to make it about you and be like, oh, soon he's going to be able to fucking look down on me just like everyone else. Yeah, no, Tyrion's not bitter at all. And so Tyrion had Pod studying the Dornish heraldry, but obviously Pod's nervous because
so he quizzes
Pod.
him. Go, name him. Everyone. Bronn, help him.
Bronn's also looking pretty decked out now.
Yeah,
in
dude.
his doublet and his sigil of the burning chain.
And he's bearing the Lannister
banner. He's bearing the Lannister.
Podrick
Pod's
has
got
the
the Kings.
Baratheon.
And they begin doing this fucking game show, and Pod starts listing off names. House Martell, House Dalt, House Blackmont, House Manwoody, House Corgyle, House Uller. And Tyrion's like, damn! If you can get them all, I'll get you a gift. And Pod continues on. House Hilarion, House Gargalen, House Jourdain, and that's all of them. And Tyrion's like, damn, Pod, I couldn't have done that. And then thinks
Once
immediately,
again,
of course I could have. In my sleep, I could have.
But it's best to boost the boy's confidence.
I'd rather raise this kid up. Fuck you, Tyrion. Pod don't need you. I don't know, man. I very quickly in this reread have become disenfranchised with Tyrion. He used to be one of my favorites, but now it's much more... I mean, I still love the character because of the darkness in him, but I just very much so clearly now see him as one of the villains. He's not a good person. It's a bad person who has these moments of
good intention,
questioning his own morality and kind of a moment. of
he has his good intentions, but he also has his privilege. So when he doesn't get his way, he fucking pouts.
He's petty and spiteful, yeah. Martell brings formidable companions. Tyrion notes 9 of the greatest lords of Dorne were now riding up the King's Road. There was a message here, and not one that Tyrion likes at all.
Yeah, so he decides to ride up and greet them.
Well,
sooner.
no, because Pod fucking rolls a nat 20 on his perception check, and it's like, my lord, there's no litter. And Tyrion's like, oh shit, he's right. Because this is where we learn, or if you're me and suck the dick of Dorne, Doran has gout and is well past 50, so he isn't doing much walking these days, which means he's damn near carried everywhere in a litter, which means Doran ain't here. And Tyrion's like, maybe he's delayed, maybe he didn't take a litter, so he was not set upon by brigands, because it's less ostentatious.
Maybe he's gotten stronger. Nah, none of that shit, yo.
None of
so
the
then he
above.
decides that the curiosity gets the best of him, and they greet right out to greet
Rides
them
forward.
sooner.
Pod, Bronn flanking him, this sick little posse, riding out, and the Dornishmen do the same, seeing Tyrion, they spur up to meet him. The first King Doran had observed that there were 3 types of Dornishmen. Let's stereotype for a minute, folks. The salty, the sandy, and the stony. So you can extrapolate from that the salty live near the sea.
Huh.
The sandy from the deserts.
Not the beaches?
And the stony are smoking that good kush. So
the woods?
Yep.
Mountains. We're
Mountains,
just kidding.
right.
We're just...
Mountains. And all 3 seem well represented here in this group, Tyrion notes.
Right. So they come up and greet each other, and the prince...
Oh, hold on.
Riding the mount as if he was born there.
The Dornish leader rode a stallion, black as sin, with mane and tail the color of fire. Red and black, Targaryen colors. Just saying. Doran's plan, merging, the two houses. Yeah.
The 2 houses.
Uh-huh.
Sure, okay.
He sat his saddle as if he was born there, tall, slim, graceful. Sun and spear of Martell on the shield he bore on his back. But 10 years too young, Tyrion thinks. Too fit and too fierce. He knew what he was dealing with then.
Because there was a twitch in his pants.
Because Tyrion is hard as a rock. As Casterly rock, if you will.
Right.
Oberyn Martell is here!
He knows how to make an entrance.
The true king of Westeros, the one true king of Westeros, not the king we deserve, but certainly the king we need, Oberyn fucking Martell. Oh,
Westeros.
yes. Oh, my God, yes.
Is this...
All day.
So this is just like a temporary...
Stop it.
Position,
We don't
though,
talk
right?
about the end when we're just at the beginning. Fuck you.
Well,
We do that. We're a full spoiler reread. We do.
Oberyn. He greets him and then introduces his lords.
Tyrion has the great little thought of, when he realizes it's Oberyn, how many Dornishmen does it take to start a war? Only one.
Only one.
How many licks does it take to get to the Tootsie Roll Center? Just one. Oberyn.
Right.
He'll lick the shit out of that pop.
And so Oberyn introduces, let's see if I can read my own writing here, Deziel Dalt of Lemonwood.
Yeah.
Traymond Gargalen.
Dope.
Harmon and Ulwick Uller. I also noticed that Uller there is very close to I believe it's a Norse god, Uller. And I just want to look more into that. I made a note of that for myself.
They're from Hellholt also, which, kind of similar to Helheim. It does very much so seem in that Norse sort of pantheon-y house.
That's cool. So then there's also Ryan Illyrian and Daemon Sand, the bastard of the god's grace. Tight. I like that guy. I don't know anything. Then we get Dagos Manwoody and his brother Miles and his sons Mors and Dickon. See? It's not just House Tarly. And then finally Aaron Cargyle, Myra Jourdain, heir to Tor, and Lara Blackmont. What's this here? Her daughter Janessa, and her son Peros. Janessa's son Peros.
The one that Oberyn is dick-oning, Alaria Sand, his paramour and the baddest bitch you've laid eyes on in King's Landing, maybe besides Elia and Shataya.
That's true. There's some bad bitches right there.
Right. So Tyrion's like, Cersei's gonna flip a fucking gourd if Oberyn insists on bringing not only his paramour, but a bastard to the high table at the king's wedding. But to seat her in the back is gonna offend Oberyn. So, what the fuck is Oberyn trying to do here? Is he just trying to start a war?
Of course he's here to stir the fucking pot.
So, it's so good. So he thinks on...
Tyrion introduces his host. This is fun. This feels dirty to even say some of these names. What we got first? Flement Brax. Giles Rosby. Sir Adam Marbrand. Adam's pretty alright.
Yeah, he's
Jalabar Jo. Harris Swift. Merlin Crakehall. Philip Foote. And Bronn of the Blackwater. And finally, my boy, Podrick Payne, my personal squire.
Crickets.
Lady Blackmont's like, yo, can we get to the city?
Can
I'm
we
tired.
fucking go, Tyrion?
Got
It's
it.
hot and like
We've been riding for like 2 weeks straight, nonstop. You don't even know what that's like, bitch.
Lady Blackmont's a whole ass mood. Like, fucking, can we just go? So Tyrion's like, yeah, let's go. They ride on, and he begins thinking on Oberyn's reputation.
Yeah, we get the story of Oberyn and his dastardly deeds.
At 16, he was found abed with Lorne Ironwood's wife, and a duel ensued to first blood. Both took some cuts, but Oberyn recovered from his wounds.
Whereas Lord Ironwood's festered and led to his fucking death, which led people to say that he had poisoned his weapons.
Yuck.
Giving him the nickname the Red Viper. Oh, I like that. I like that. That was nice.
His legend had grown darker, of course, because he was only a boy when that occurred. He had traveled the free cities, learning poison and darker arts still, studied at the Citadel, going so far as to forge 6 links before growing bored and traveling on. He rode with the Second Sons, formed his own company.
Just fuck it.
Just cuz. Bedded men and women both, birthed the Sand Snakes, and then Tyrion notes that it had been whispered that Oberyn had never fathered a son.
This motherfucker, did he ever encounter Euron? Like, I feel like he's the motherfucker that would have been in those types of places.
He probably fucked Euron.
Yo, they probably fucked.
Probably like Euron, he was clearly into
whatever he feels
men
like,
and boys and weird shit. So, like, yeah,
in
maybe
Volantis,
they hooked up, yeah. In
chilling
Valeria, fuck it.
fucking-
Oberyn was just, like, already there, just on a hammock. Like,
Sudden.
tell the Iron Islands I am here.
Tell them.
So, and, of course, he crippled Willis, the
Yes.
heir to Highgarden.
I love that little drop we'll get here soon.
So, yeah, Tyrion ruminates that the Tyrell and the Dornishmen have always hated each other for a very, very long time, dating back to scorpions getting dropped from a bed chamber.
Mm-hmm.
Some shit's always been brewing between these two.
There was literally nobody worse that you could have brought and sent to attend a Tyrell wedding.
So Oberyn's like, we've met before, hey. And Tyrion's like, I don't think we did. And Oberyn's like, you were an infant. Ha, you wouldn't remember, bitch. and
Got him!
Starts ruminating on the famous story. Again, fucking...
When he was a demon monkey.
This show, dude. I love... his name is escaping me. God damn it.
Oberyn?
Yeah, the actor.
I just blanked as well. Pedro Pascal.
Pedro Pascal.
He's
Thank
a
you.
lovely gem of a deer.
He nails it, and especially with this story, I think he did fantastic. But Oberyn was 14 or 15 at the time, because his lord father Tywin invited them, and at the time was hand to a different king, and then Tyrion, of course, cleverly thinks not so different as
I have that
as you
noted
think.
there.
But Oberyn was 14 or 15 at the time. Tyrion had just been born. It was right after Joanna died, and Tyrion's like, that's a really fucking odd time to be visiting, because...
We happened to be at the Citadel, and so... Do you think that was when he was first looking into attending the Citadel?
I think that's probably where it piqued his interest of like, oh yeah, I could come here and learn some sweet shit.
Right,
like,
and so they attended the place, and it was fucking shit.
Tyrion ruminates quick that this was right after Joanna died, and his Uncle Gary had told him, Uncle Gary's his favorite,
the best part of Tywin Lannister
that
died
Tywin
with Joanna.
changed, like, irreparably after Joanna. There was something broken in Tywin from that point on, and it just... We always knew he was a brutal,
I don't think
strategic.
it's as... Because I've heard a lot of people think he was a loving, caring,
Well,
doting
no,
father.
but he only
and, like,
smiled
Cersei was
for her.
still a little fucking cunt.
Sure.
But, yeah, I think it's just that...
He only
don't get to
saved
see
his
that.
smiles
Yeah.
for Joanna, and, like, there was a tenderness to Tywin. And it just makes me wonder, is he tender with Shay? Like, when he's hooking up with these sex workers, is it this sweet, like... weird, gross?
Oh, sure. He's because Tyrion's a direct reflection of Tywin, and Tyrion just needs to hear that
Gemma.
the king of you're my king, you're my Lion of Lannister.
Ah.
It's the exact
Ick.
same shit.
Ick.
He is hearing the exact same words mirrored because that's
right,
what he
but
needs.
like,
is
could
somebody
you
to...
imagine like Tywin whispering, like, I am yours and you are mine, and like that type.
Yeah,
like
that's
that,
what he's doing. I mean, it's hard to picture, but that's exactly what I think he's doing.
It's
exactly
so
what
gross,
I think
but I think Joanna is such an interesting person, just someone who could deal with it.
And that's exactly why he scorns Tyrion so harshly for it, is because it's that moment that he only shared with
Tyrion
Joanna.
is literally, like, as we learn here, as it's foretold, he's the personification of Tywin's sins, literally. Like, he fornicates with whores, and clearly Tywin has the same fucking weakness, and that's dating back to his father, when his father entertained sex workers, and one of them stole his mother's jewels and everything like that, and Tywin had her marched around naked. It's a shameful thing for him that he tries to stuff down, that Tyrion kind of parades and puts on display. But Uncle Gary is lost beyond the seas. Not so lost. Just shrouded. Shrouded.
Anyway, they had been hearing all the tales of the monstrously hideous little demon monkey born in Casterly Rock, so they were really curious to check that thing out. Go fucking see the horror show.
Yeah.
And Cersei had...
Tyrion was the biggest disappointment of their trip to Casterly Rock. Oberyn didn't like any of it, and Tyrion's like, what did you expect of an infant? And Oberyn answers, enormity, which I think is just an interesting one, harkening back to A Game of Thrones, when the Tyrion's shadow is cast as large as a king, and Aemon Targaryen says that a giant has come among us at the end of the world, that he expected enormity from Tyrion. And that's an interesting, even though he is explaining, you are far famed, the people spoke of your birth, the monster born to Tywin, the king's hand, and what that omen might foretell. And they're like, yeah, no, Tywin had gotten too big for his britches. He put himself above the kings, and no one should be above the king but the gods. And
you were his punishment.
You were his curse, his punishment. And Tyrion's like, I try. He has yet to listen, but do go on. And Oberyn says, you were said to have a tail like a pig. Your head was monstrous huge. You had black hair and beard, an evil eye and lion's claws, teeth so long your mouth couldn't close, the privates of both a girl and a boy. You were never seen at table or hall while we were there, but we could hear you wailing for hours, and nothing would quiet you but a teat. And Tyrion's like, still true. And Oberyn's like, hey.
And then says, what, man, it would have been great to be able to fuck myself. And, making all sorts of jokes about the stories. And he's like...
Important bit, Oberyn tells the little anecdote that Lord Galen told him that he hoped to die with sword in hand. Oberyn wants to die with a breast in his... We only bring that up because it comes back around as Tyrion drops a pretty bombshell line at the end. But, yeah, Tyrion, and then... Yeah, but Cersei's like, hey... I'll show you the little demon monkey. And Ellie is like, hell yeah, that sounds sweet. So the day before we were to leave, she took us to your nursery with your brother. This is just fucked up.
Cersei's savage in every way. Man. The wet nurse, first of all, because she's like, get the fuck out.
Get out, you milk cow. You don't need a tongue to fucking squirt milk out of your udders.
Fuck out. Whoa.
Jesus.
And then... she shows them the baby.
He's mine, she says about Tyrion when the wet nurse tries to tell them to get out. He's mine, and then fuck you, you milk cow. And Tyrion's like, he's mine. That's Cersei claiming ownership? That's what fucking creeps me out, is like he's mine. He's my little monster to do with as I please and torture. And like, you were a sociopath at like fucking 12, Cersei, and that's scary. But, yeah, she undoes his swaddling clothes to give them a better look. He says, you had an evil eye, and some black fuzz on your head, to be sure, but no tail, beard, claws, or teeth, and only a tiny pink cock between your legs. Elia even cooed, the same noise that girls make over dogs or kittens.
Right. She was like, oh, the baby.
A baby.
And... Cersei just fucking rips at his cock.
When I commented you seemed a poor sort of monster, your sister said he killed my mother, and she twisted your little cock so hard I thought she was like to pull it off. And she only stopped. You shrieked, but she only stopped once Jaime stepped in. And then she said, it doesn't matter. Everyone says he's like to die soon. He shouldn't have even lived this long. And Tyrion goes cold all over. So, I think this is the realization for him that they never have had or will have a chance to be siblings.
Right.
Cersei has had this ownership of his torment since he was born, and this claim to him that, and it almost is a reflection of that protective older sibling of, only I can call my brother a fucking idiot. If you do it, right, I'm going to step in and we're going to have some issues type of thing. But with Cersei, it's only I can torment him. Otherwise, I sort of present the Lion of Lannister thing to a degree, because she doesn't certainly jump in to rescue Tyrion in any of the shit he gets into. But it's just that twisted, like, from the get-go.
Yeah,
they never had a chance to be siblings. They never will have a chance. And to me, it's almost that this ends up with one of them dead. Like, these two cannot exist. One neither can live while the other survives. Like, it's fucking that. Like, there's too much animosity here.
And Cersei are the twins, but these two are the ones who have their linked coexistences fucking at jeopardy.
So Tyrion wonders why Oberyn's telling him this story. Is it just to pull his cock as Cersei did? And he says he did have a tail, but Tywin had it cut off. And Oberyn says, you've grown more amusing since we've last met. But he asks him then about Tyrion's new tax on the sex workers in the city. And Tyrion's pissed about that because that's not his law, that's Tywin's law, to help pay for the wedding and put a little more coin into the city.
But as the master of coin, he's taken all the blame for it. They're calling it the imps tax?
The imp's penny?
That's it, yeah.
Yeah. Oberyn says that even a prince must pay his taxes, so he'll be sure to keep a pouch of pennies near him. And Tyrion's like, what? Yeah.
But you got her, and he's like, she's gonna be with me. Like, what are you, dumb?
Yeah, he's like, are you bored of her? And Oberyn's like, no, dude, she wants a threesome with, like, a hot blonde. So, like, you know any? And Tyrion is like, yeah, I'm married and I don't whore now. So, unless I want them to be hanged, like, angstity, angst. I've been married for, like, a fucking week. And so I have no idea of the whores in this city.
Right. Like, he's not well-renowned.
So, Oberyn abruptly shifts talk to the wedding feast, and Tyrion asks are you hungry, my lord? And he says he has been hungry for years, but not for food. Tell me, when will the justice be served?
Justice. Rattle their cages.
And Tyrion's like, fuck, I knew it. And Tyrion says that there's been no time to look into murders 16 years cold, but should the Dornish help them win the war, hint, hint, nudge, nudge, wink, wink, and we're done with the bullshit, Oberyn says.
Dwarf! I loved it.
Dwarf, spare me your Lannister lies. My brother is not bloodthirsty, but neither is he asleep. I didn't come for a mummer's show of inquiry. I came for justice for Elia and her children, starting with Gregor Clegane, but not, I think, ending there. Before he dies, the enormity that rides will tell me who gave him his orders. Assure your Lord Father of this. I just, it's so well delivered. I love him calling
Tywin out.
The enormity that rides. Yeah. Like, it's just, Oberyn. I love him so much.
Yeah, Tyrion's like, fuck. And he tells Tyrion that he's the proof the gods are good. Because while Doran might not be bloodthirsty, I am. And if I was the firstborn, I'd be fucking shit up right now. He'd have the whole fucking Dorne army just rampaging everything. Everything.
So Tyrion looks behind him and he's like, I only see 300 men. You look behind me in this city, there's about 500,000. Many of them Tyrells. So, and Oberyn's like, all flowers bow before the sun.
Yes.
And should they hinder me in any way, I'll gladly trample them underfoot. And
like
Tyrion,
Willis?
As you did Willis Tyrell?
Willis?
Nah.
Love this. I shared a letter with Willis just last year.
He holds no hard feelings. It was a well-struck blow. And honestly, the blame lies on his fat oaf of a father for trying to fucking shove him into something too early.
His leg got caught up in the stirrup. And they share a taste for horse flesh. Does that mean that the Dothraki is that anything that they might be hooking up with the Dothraki? Because they all are Just a little tie, like a little hint at anything, you think?
No.
Okay, fine.
I love that they're cool though. Like,
Right.
There's no beef here, even though that's all we've been told is that like, oh yeah,
Right.
he was crippled by the fucking the Prince of Dorne, and it was bad. But like, nah. Like, even Willis was like, yo, it was a well struck blow, and
Right
like,
in the
I just
chest.
had no idea what I was doing, and so, fucking yeah, fuck you, Mace Tyrell. And I
fuck you,
just
Tyrion.
love that subversion of like, nah,
Right.
we talked out, we're pen pals, dude. Like, we're chit chatting. And then Tyrion switches gears and says that some say Loras is fantastic at the lists.
Even better, perhaps, than Leo Longthorn. Oberyn once again. Nah, what? Mm-mm.
Renly's little rose? Doubt it. And Tyrion's like,
Who's
doubt
he
it all
killed?
you like.
Who's he killed? Huh?
Yeah, he asks that, and so Tyrion says he's slain Sir Robor Royce and Emyn
Koi? Koi? All right.
and perform prestigious feats besides Renly's ghost at the Blackwater. And Oberyn laughs.
He's
here.
like, wait, were those men that he slain? Were they?
Did they see the ghost too? They all saw the feats and the ghost at the same time. Like,
All
it's
right.
okay.
Okay.
And
these are
Tyrion's
the-
like, yeah, all right. Shataya on the Street of Silk should have the girls to fit your needs. I'd advise you to keep one at your side at all times, my lord. And Oberyn's like, at all times? Why is that, my good imp? And Tyrion says, you wanted to die with a breast in your hand, you said. And then he canters ahead as he's had his fill of the Dornish wit. Again, you got bested in this verbal sparring match because all you had to go on was Loras Tyrell, and you're coming away like, yeah, fuck this, you're probably gonna die here.
So, to end the chapter there, he dies fighting for Tyrion, which is the funny thing.
Right.
Like, he does end up in that no breast in hand.
Yeah,
but-
he thinks Joffrey should have fucking come in, which is another interesting point of how great of a person Tyrion is. Is like, let's bring the little racist out here. He should have been here to like just fucking go at this guy.
Right.
And then he's like, actually, I want to be there when those two meet because that'll be at least interesting and funny. And then that's the chapter end. Oberyn Martell 1,000, the Lannister 0. He's already, coming in hot into this fucking city like a meteor, which I think, as much as I love Pedro Pascal, not a criticism of him, I think the show did a misstep by kind of cutting to where like he was already in the city. I really think they should have done this because this scene's intense. It's such a good introduction. Him having 9 of the most powerful Dornish lords behind him is an intense display of like, yeah, we're here to fuck shit up. Like,
Right.
plain and simple. But let's convene our small council, get some inductees.
What up? Welcome to the Small Council. You're here too.
Tell your father that I'm here. I just love Oberyn, dude.
I know you do. You
You're gonna
talk
be a
about him
fucking
lot.
stupid bitch when he dies, so like I'm
not
gonna enjoy
going
it
to.
now.
I like Oberyn too. I'm just a realist. Like, I can't keep getting attached every time just to break my own heart, okay? Fuck. Who's your inductee?
Mine is Willis, because I can't give it to my main man because he is already inducted by one of our listeners. So Willis Tyrell, because that discovery of the pen pal correspondence is one of my favorite little reveals that George did of like, nah, we're good, bro. Like, it's all good for those two. They don't give a shit. They both enjoy horseflesh. That's cool. So Willis.
Nice. I
Willis
like
is
that.
a good dude.
So, I really want to give it to one in particular, but I'm not going to because we'll do something else for him. And so I'm going to continue going with Lady Blackmont. Just
yeah.
because she's such a fucking bad bitch coming up in here. She's like, I'm done with this whatever this is. And you have gross people here coughing, spreading their COVID, and let's go. Let's move it along.
Get into
Done and
this
tired of it.
shithole city.
And I really like that a lot. So, Lady Blackmont.
Blackmont.
Blackmond.
Blackmont.
With a D.
So we did get an inductee from Kristen, and Kristen sent us a great email, saying that she felt like this whole Oberyn story about little baby Tyrion was a little more heartwarming in the show, more of like a, hey, I thought you were gonna be monstrous and you weren't, and that's cool. But in the book, it's a little darker, and she likes that. And so she says she has to take the easy way out because she has to induct Oberyn. Not only for his badass introduction, but for his history that Tyrion recounts. Studied dark arts, studied to be a maester for a while, joined a sellsword company, formed his own sellsword company, bisexual king. Seriously, we deserve more of Oberyn Martell, so I might have to induct him at every opportunity until we tragically lose him.
If you don't, Zach will.
I got your back because it breaks my heart every single time. But we can enjoy him while we have him because Oberyn is literally one of the coolest fucking characters in the entire series. So thank you, Kristen.
And that's a great running theme anyway with us, making sure we get characters inducted before they go dying off on us.
True that.
So next we also did get a write-in from Amanda for this one, and I'm also going to read her Jamie that she got a little late.
That's okay.
But we record on weird times, so we get it.
I'll read her Jamie.
Okay, fine. I wanted to read it, but fuck you. So her inductee for Tyrion is Alaria Sand. No particular reason other than she just seems super cool and I want to be her friend. That's all the reason you need for Alaria Sand. Because she's a fucking badass.
Like, to be the paramour of the Red Viper, you gotta be a badass bitch. And I imagine that Oberyn wants a powerful woman, doesn't want some meek, I'm gonna just be able to order her around and fucking throw her around type girl. One that will fight back and be like, nah, fuck you. Like, fuck that shit. So, Alaria Sand's a badass bitch.
Word.
So, she also got in her Jamie 5, and so she said, what?
On her Tyrion inductee, she did request that somebody gets Pod in so that we can get that boy some glasses. We can set up a donation fund so that we can get Podrick some, since we didn't get him as an inductee. So, we'll get that going.
So, for Jamie, she says, I'm late giving my inductee. Whoops. But I'm going to tell you guys anyway. My inductee is Elmar Frey. I know Elmar was kind of a dick to Arya, but I just imagine he is a scared little kid who was taken from his family during a war. And since Arya left, he was probably forced to deal with Roos's leeches. Poor kid. So, quick reminder that Elmar was Roos's cupbearer in the Jaime chapter. And yeah, I like that spotlight on Elmar because while he adds to the creepy image of Roose being served only by a single cupbearer, he's just a little kid too, man. And he's literally like having to stand next to the Lord of Darkness in this immense emptiness that is Harrenhal's Hall of Hearths. So Elmar deserves a good little safe, cozy spot to chill. So we'll welcome Elmar Frey into the Brotherhood.
Thank you, Amanda. We appreciate all your inductees and your well-worded thoughts in your emails. And if you would like to write in like Kristen, like Amanda, like the past write-ins, Karen and I just had a brain fart. I'm sorry.
Kristen?
I said Kristen. Julian, and even the Silent Sisters.
Woo!
And all sorts, anybody, right? And we have our email, withoutmannersbrotherhood@gmail.com. You can find us on Facebook, facebook.com/brotherhoodpodcast. Our website will direct you wherever you wish to find us, brotherhoodwithout.com. And we have our Patreon. That's the last one I wanted to mention, patreon.com/withoutmanners. Don't forget that we will be recording Aria 7 next, and get your inductees for that, followed by John. I don't know what number off the top of my
followed
head.
by Bran.
Pardon,
3.
Brian, and then John. Brian.
And then
3.
John, yeah.
Then John,
Queen's
then
Crown.
Daenerys, and then it will be Aria 8.
High Heart with a Ghost.
Who we've announced is Chloe from Girls Gone Canon.
Get
so make sure you're following
hype.
them and get prepared. It's going to be a great time.
Get prepared. Get fucking hype. Don't get prepared. Get hype.
All right.
Get fucking hype.
Okay.
Get hype.
He's hype.
It's Chloe.
Valo de Harris.
Peace.